Alright, I went ahead and zoomed out on our ruler, as you can see right here. And now what we want to do is we want to come back in and put the numbers that mark out, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and so forth. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and stay on the same layer that we're on for Imperial, which shows us the green tick marks. And what we want to do now is we want to go up to Annotation. And on Annotation, I'm going to hit on this pull down here, and I'm going to go to Standard. And I'm going to go to Manage Text Styles. Okay, I want to use a very common format of a font. I'm going to go ahead and hit the pull down. I'm just going to select the letter D on my keyboard. And when I do that, it jumps me down into the D's, the fonts that start with D's. And I want to go to this one called dim.shx. I'm going to select that one. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give it a height of that piece of text of 0.1875, which is 3/16 of an inch, and I'm going to hit Apply. Now, before I hit Apply, let's look at the font style over here. It's going to be just basically a line, and it's not like a true type font which shows fill and that kind of thing. This is what we want, because we're going to use this later on the settings for our laser engraver to basically make an etched line as opposed to a laser engraved line. We're going to use the cutting function on the rabbit laser to create that etching look there. Okay, that's good. So let's go ahead and hit Apply, and we'll go ahead and close. Now I'll go back up here to single text mode, and I'm going to start about, let's zoom up on here, about right there. And it says specify the angle of rotation. I'm just going to hit my space bar, and then it says select the height, which I don't need to do that because I've already know what it is. It's 0.1875, which is 3/16. Now all I'm going to do is key in the number 1. Okay, then I'm just going to click up here and hit Escape. Now it looks pretty good, so let's go ahead and zoom out on that. Yeah, we probably want to move that a little bit, so we'll use our move command, and I'll hit that, select it, and I'll select the base point, and I'll just move it to about right there. Okay, that's good for now. Okay, I went ahead and zoomed out. Now that we've got our 1 in place, we need to go ahead and we need to put the numbers all down the way up here, all the way up from 1 to 10. So the best way to do that is I'm going to go ahead and use the array command, the rectangular array command. I'm going to select it, and let me go ahead and select that. And it says array select object. So I'll select this piece of text here. And then I'll go ahead and hit enter or spacebar. Now it comes up with these numbers all stacked on top of each other, a bunch of 1s, and that's not what we want. So let's go ahead and put some settings in here. So we'll come up here to the ribbon up here for a text array. We're going to hit 1, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come down here to this setting here, and I'm going to hit 1 inch between those and hit enter. And I'm going to come over here to columns, and I'm going to set that to 1 column. Excuse me, rows. I'll set that to 1 row because that's all we want to work with. Well, if you look, it looks like we got it in here correctly. That's what we want. Awesome. So let's go ahead and hit the exit command and get out of that, and we're good to go. Now, if you notice when you run your mouse over it, it all kind of highlights as one object. Well, we need to do what's called an explode on that. So I'm going to just key in the command EXP, and you'll come down here and grab explode. And it says select the objects you want to explode. And now that I found that, I'm going to hit enter. And as I come over now, it's individual objects. So with that done, I can select, double click on him, and I can key in the number 2. Click up here, and I'll key in number 3. Click out here, and I will key in number 4, and on down the line. Oh, not 51. That would be area 51. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do all of this, but one thing I want to make a note of real quick. If you remember when we put in the holes for our binder, I offset those a bit because our vertical height is 1 1/4 inch. But I only came up 1/2 inch, and the reason I accounted for that was that my text I knew at 3/16 would probably interfere if I put this circle halfway up, which had been I think 0.625 of an inch instead of half an inch. So that's why the circles are a bit offset so we can see our numbers. Well, again, let's keep going down here and let's modify our text. Grab this one. And 10. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out just a little bit and see what we got here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll go with this for now. All right, everything looks pretty good so far, 1 through 10 on our numbering. However, we need to let the user know what type of ruler this is. There's all kind of rulers. There's 1/4 inch rulers, there's 1/10 inch rulers, there's millimeter rulers and centimeters and stuff, but we need to let them know that this is a 1/16 inch, which designates an imperial unit measuring system. So I'm going to scroll up on this, zoom up here, and I'm going to go back to annotation, and I'm going to select standard, and I'm going to go manage text styles. Now, on this size of 0.1875 through 16ths, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to make it 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply and hit close. And I'll come back and get single line text, and I'll start right here, and I'll say 0 for my angle. I'm just going to say 16. That's it. And I'll click up here, and let's get out of that. Hit escape, grab this, and then hit my move command. And you can kind of move it wherever you like. I pretty much like that right there, and I'm going to go with that. So again, let's zoom out. Hit the Z command, and I'll hit E for extents, and let's see what happens there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, as you can see, we've got our ruler in place, and we've got that in. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put my name on this, so that way everybody knows that it's Richard Platts. So I'll go and change my layer, excuse me, to name. So I've got that set to name, just so I don't mess up anything. I'm going to lock that imperial, I'm going to lock those binder holes, and I'm going to lock that MDF so I don't make a mistake. Okay, so we got that in. Now let's zoom up, and if you notice when you lock stuff, it kind of dims it a little bit. That's all right. We accept that. I'm going to come back to annotation, go back to standard, and I'll go to manage text styles, and I'm going to say in this case 0.1875 3/16. So we might have to scale that down, but we'll find out here real quick. Okay, I hit close on that, and I'll start with my single line text again. I'll start about right here, and I'll go with that angle of 0, and I'll put in Richard Platt. Okay, now I'll click up here, and let's go back to our move command and get out of that real quick. Whoops, still in text mode. Go back to move, hit escape. Now go to move, highlight my text. That's what I want, and I'll select the base points. Yeah, move that over here about right there. Whoops, let's try that again. Try to come over to maybe about right in here. Looks pretty good. Now what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and do single line text again, and I'll specify a starting point. I'll come out here to about right there, and I'm going to key in designer maker. Okay, click up here. Now I'm right on top of this. I have to probably move that now. Let's do that. I hit move. Specify base point. I'll move Richard out of the way, and I'll take this right here and hit move again. Get my base point there, and I'll move him over to about right, about halfway between those two holes. Hit my move command again. Select the objects, base point. I'll go halfway between the 2 and the 3. And I like that. Now what I'm going to do is turn off my polar tracking and my snaps, and I'm going to hit move again. I'll click on this object there and this object there. Hold my shift key down. So I got them both. hit move. Oops, hold them again. And I've got those selected. I'll get a base pointer right there. I'll just move those up a little bit higher. Okay, trying to keep some clearance down here at the bottom so I can put my architectural scale in. Okay, that looks good. We'll stop there for now. Okay, before we go too much further, let's go ahead and lock this layer. First of all, let's go ahead and set ourselves to the architectural scale layers. And I'm going to come down here and lock the name layer so I don't mess that up. And sit there. That's good. All right. Now, we're going to have blue lines here because we've got a blue color for our layer. I'm going to go ahead and before I do too much, I'm going to turn on my snap, my polar tracking and my object snap tracking. And I'm going to come over here to this line here and I'm going to start at that point and I'm going to come up, I want to say 3/8 of an inch, 0.375, and I'll stay right there and then I'll hit escape. Okay, so now I've got my first line in for my architectural scale. Now that's kind of tall, so what I might do is actually make that a little smaller. So let's just go ahead and delete that. Okay, delete command. Let's do that one more time. Come down here, and what I'll do is come up. I'm gonna say, let's try 0.25. Yeah, it looks a little better. I like that. Okay, so now we brought that up 1/4 of an inch, that line there, and this is going to start what we call our 1/4 inch scale, or our 1/4 of an inch equals 1 foot in architectural designations. So let's go over here to our offset command, and again, for every 1/4 of an inch equals 1 foot. So to specify an offset distance, I'm going to say 0.25. Okay, and it says select object to offset. I'll select that one, and we're going to do multiple, of course, and we're just going to go down the line. Just keep clicking as far as we can go. Yeah, it's probably pretty good right there. I hit escape. And so we've got those 1/4 inch lines in. Now let's go ahead and zoom, and we're going to say window. Let's try that again. Zoom for command and then window. Now let's see what we got here. Maybe zoom out just a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good for now. Alright, now what we need to do is we need to put our 1/8 inch marks in. The 1/8 inch again equals 1 foot on an 1/8 inch scale. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and two things. One, I'm going to get rid of that line there because I'm going to need some space here to put my 1/8 inch equal 1 foot designation here, just as I have on this opposite side. So let's just roll up on this guy here and say offset. And right now it's set to 0.25. Okay, we're going to set that to 0.125. Gotta be careful with this. So now we'll select this object here and go over to there, and that's fine. So now I'm going to come up here with my line command, and I'm going to bisect that, and I'll set that over to there. Actually, I use what's called a midpoint. Make sure on your object snap settings here that you have your midpoint set up and it's selected. Okay, with these two here, like this, I'm going to escape out of all that, go up here to trim, select these two objects, and I'll hit enter, and then I'll grab this first guy here, and that's good, and I'll hit escape. Okay, get rid of him. Now, real important step. This can cause you a lot of confusion. I just had to redo it myself. I'm going to go up here and hit the offset command. And now, real important, see where it's set to 125? Yes, we want to make 1/8 inch marks, but we don't want to land on top of the ones we've already made, which makes our laser engraver make a very, very ugly burn on our MDF or wood. So I'm going to key in 0.25 here. Then I'll select this guy here, and it'll go to the opposite side of this 1/4 inch mark here. And I'll go ahead and set multiple, and I'll scroll out, move over here, maybe come up a little bit. And I'll just start going down the line. Yeah, I had mine set to an 1/8 of an inch, and needless to say, it was not good. So I went back and redid mine to where I would not land on top of the marks I already made. Now if you do that, the laser engraver will do what you say to do. If you put two lines on top of each other, it's going to laser right back over the line you put. So that can be kind of not fun. And I can go one more if I want, and I'll just go ahead and hit escape, and it leaves that space open. I wanted that. Okay, let's roll out, take a look at that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm going to go with this for right now. Okay, now what we need to do is put our text in that designates an 1/8 of an inch, or excuse me, as a 1/4 inch scale going from left to right. So the best way to get started is go up here to annotate, go to standard, and come down to manage text styles. Now I've already gone in and tested it, and I set mine to 1/16 of an inch. We'll just do it again, 0.0625. Hit enter. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get to single line text. I'm going to roll up to about right here, and this is going to be where my inches are, and then I'm going to go 1 foot, 2 foot. I'll start right there. Now I've gone ahead and turned off my object snap tracking and my polar tracking, so mine are selected as on now, but I'm going to turn those off. I'm just going to come up to about inches, 1 foot, 2 foot, put that mark right there. I'll set an angle rotation of 0, and I'll key in the number 2. All right, I'll click up here. Looks pretty good. That's what I need. And I may just go ahead and hit the move command here. We're going to escape out of that text. Hit the move command. Select that text. Hit enter. Give it a base point just somewhere in there. Get that kind of down a little bit lower, about right there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, again, going to go ahead and zoom out, and we're going to use that command that we learned so much from the last time, which was the array command, and it says select an object. So I'm going to get that piece of text right there, hit enter, and I'm going to zoom up on that a little bit. Now again, it's got 3 rows and 4 columns. So we'll set our columns, set our rows here to 1. Hit my tab key, and I'll come over here and I'll set this to a distance of 1/2 inch, 0.5, and it's starting to space it out pretty good. We're gonna have to kind of figure out how many we're gonna need, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just try, let's try 10. Hit a tab key, and yeah, it looks pretty good so far. And then you want to go out to 20. Hit the tab key again, and that's looking a little better. Yeah, I think that's going to be more what we want, definitely. Okay, so good. So 20 columns, and we're going to, because it's 40 feet, I'm going to say 1 row and then 1/2 inch between each one. Okay, so that's, you only show like every 2 feet a designator. So we're going to go ahead and hit exit, get out of that command. That looks good. Now, we got to change this. We can't leave it as 2s all the way across here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and I'm going to key in EXP for explode, just like we did on the Imperial units. We're going to go ahead and come down to there and explode it. So now each one of these are individual pieces of text. So I can come up here now and double click on that and key in 4. And I can key in 8. I can key in 10. And we're going to go down the line and get all that done for our 1/4 inch to have a mark every 1/8 of an inch. Excuse me. Have a mark every 1/4 of an inch, and we'll make all those edits here in just a second, and we'll come back and look at it. I went ahead and modified all the numbers that we had copied, all the 2s, and across from left to right, and I gave them the correct numbering designator. So basically, for every 2 feet, you're going to see a number, or every 1/2 of an inch, you're going to see a number which designates 2 feet. Now, the only thing that's kind of concerning me right now is how close these letters are to these tick marks. And with the laser engraver, they're very precise, no question, but it's still pretty close when it comes to burning material. So what I'm thinking I will do is go to my move command, and it says move selected objects. Well, I got to select the objects first. So I'm just going to start right here and come all the way down to this, and you can see it's all highlighted in blue. And I'll say that I've accepted those objects. I'm going to make sure that my polar tracking is turned off and my snap tracking is turned off, and I'm going to just select the base point here. I'm going to move those up a little bit, and maybe, yeah, just move them up a little bit so I can get a little bit more clearance off of my tick marks, so that way they don't overlap. I think we got some pretty good clearance there. That does look a lot better. I like that. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put in a number starting from my 1/8 inch numbers, and I'm going to be going from, again, left to right. So let me look at the number I want to start with, or where I want to start, and we shall get started here.